Transition over here to the two most underrated people on YouTube. And we will leave it at that. So, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a great Tuesday. Uh, Sorry to say, mine was hell on wheels. But that's just life in general. Uh, and honestly, I just want to apologize to everybody that's watching this because with the way my day was, I did not have any time to sit down and watch the videos or the updates for what happened in New York. I do know what happened, but I have not had time to actually sit down and go over it all and come up with my own opinions. Of course, you guys probably know what my opinions are, that the people in New York are idiots. But we do have some data to share. Jay has found an article that is really good, as the Griswolds would say. So, anybody out there in the chat, let us know. Audio, video, is it okay? I have no clue at this point. I'm just hoping we're broadcasting. Uh, Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. So we maybe just be talking to ourselves, but it's okay if we are. So let's start
Yeah, we're
out. Okay, so we'll start out with buffets, just like we always do. So, Jay, what you got tonight?
good. Let's see. I got the blotto on top of the NATO. Inside that, I got some sinful fruit, the plasma, really great, and it is a flavor.
Hmm.
Next, I got the Goon 25 with the Inferno DHD chop top because I like colors. On top of the black NATO. Inside that, another fucking flavor,
Hmm.
Paramount. I can't really see the light. Paramount. And then I got the another chop top, the Stay Gold from DHD with the Turk B2 because it is Turk Tuesday like always every Tuesday. And I got that on the Unicorn Constant Contact, that vert mod. Inside that, I got some of this peanut butter. This is a whipped peanut butter pie, and imagine that, I like it too.
That's from
And
IVC
then
too,
I
isn't
have
it?
my stack. Oh yeah, IVC. Always got to rep them. I mean, I tried some of their stuff and I've been loving it.
Yeah.
I plan on putting another order in here pretty soon. Next, I got that Parade Maker, and imagine that it's a
Mm.
hazelnut toffee sugar cookie. And I actually said that to someone I called. I think it was 2 days ago or yesterday or something like that. And yeah, they were like, "Ooh, that actually does sound pretty good." I'm like, "Well, imagine fucking that." But then I got the Apocalypse 25 on top of the Purge stack with that Parade Maker in there with a DHD nub tip. I can't remember what this one's called, so I'm sorry, but it's like blue and purple, kind of like the mod. But yeah, and this is, I call this a stress reliever.
Hold on.
But
There we
that is
go.
all I have.
All right. So now it goes over to me, and honestly, I don't think I've changed up anything since the weekend. I have the little Geek Vape Frenzy in there, rocking the final stand, 12 milligram strawberry lemonade from Paradigm Distro. Uh,
You're not
Unity,
allowed to like lemonade.
I know it. I can't like it, even though I've got like three setups with lemonade in it. Uh, Unity on the Shogun in there. I have Pink Starburst because I like candy, but I'm diabetic, so I have to get it this way. Well, I'll put it to you. I'm diabetic, so I should get it this way. It doesn't work that way all the time, but I try to stick with it. I got the Ardent on the White Dreamer. Sorry, that light's really bright. Let me turn it down so it's still bright, but oh well. Got the Ardent on the Dreamer. I think a lot of that's because of my camera brightness, but I don't feel like fixing it right now. In there, I've got some Cloud Nerds, water or strawberry lemon again. Got the Overlord with the Drop Dead on there. In there, of course, got the Shamrock Cookie. Yes, I turned it the right way. And then, of course, my everywhere I go carry is my big lunch Asgard on the Keen, and still rocking that slow blow, that pineapple limeade lemonade with culotta. And honestly, the more I vape it, the more I kind of like it. I think it could do with like half the culotta because the flavor of the pineapple and lemonade is so good together. Or limeade, lemonade, I don't know. It says some descriptions say lime, some of them say lemon, so I don't know what to go with. And then, of course, I got my Caliburn.
Yeah, I don't think they sell those without. They don't sell those ones without the culotta, do they?
No, they sell it without the mint, but not the culotta. So, but there is a
I wish they.
there is a recipe on ELR
Go.
for a
Ah,
slow blow clone, and it's saying how much WS-23 or the cooling agent to put in there. So, but I'm thinking if I
mm-hmm.
do it, I can just cut it, and that way, like I can just put
Yeah,
a quarter of the culotta in there just to give it a hint. Because a hint to me is you just barely get anything. Their hint is like
yeah.
all in your face. So, okay, enough about e-liquid. Screw it. Enough about e-juice. I'll say it. I don't care. Uh, it's one of those things that you can say whatever you want right about now because everybody's being retarded about everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
but thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here. And I know you were able to listen to major parts of the hearings today. So if you would please share that with us and see what we got going on.
Um. So I got to listen to some of the hearing. I think I tuned in a little late, but I got to hear the important parts, and I wouldn't say the important parts to me, but the important parts to New York, and the important parts to them were just pretty much turning this thing down. And to think that we call these people professionals, and to think that these people actually work for us, I'm out of words on what to say on how they acted the entire time. It was like a whole, I don't know. It was like a whole. They grabbed some middle schoolers or some ninth graders and brought them in there to make the ruling. That's what it seemed like, because it was just total BS. And honestly, M Turk putting those videos up just fired me the hell up, because it was just annoying seeing that those people were acting that way. And I'm not talking about the vape community. The vape community, they stayed calm, they stayed cool and collective until the end a little bit. But hey, you got to let your voice be heard. And if they don't want to be heard, you make yourself be heard.
Yep.
Pretty much what Matt Elliott did. And I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say I agree on everything that was said and all that, but I mean, you have to let your voice be heard. There has to be good and bad in the industry. We have to show our emotion sometimes. There's sometimes we can't show our emotion where we got to keep it in, but there is sometimes where you need to kind of just let your emotion be seen. Let them know that this is going to hurt you, that this is going to hurt your family, this is going to hurt your industry, this is going to hurt people's pockets for sure. I'm not a big person on join vaping and make coils and make this or that to make money. But if you make some good stuff, make it. But people who I'm really sad for is people like Eric Vinyl Vapor and all the brick and mortars and all the people in New York who made products that sell them.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them. It sucks. It's terrible. And they had this hearing in 3 different places. I believe it was Buffalo, Albany, and New York City. And
Rochester.
I saw yeah, Rochester.
Yeah.
Yes, and I saw a lot of people from the vape industry there. Logan, I saw him there. I saw for British Eyes Only. I saw M Turk made the drive up. AJ and Irby, they made the drive up. Matthew Elliott, the people from Prohibition, and they had a lot of representatives with them from Prohibition. It wasn't just the owner. It was like I said, Irby, AJ, another lady I met in Houston that is one of their people who roll with them and everything and go to the shows. So I mean, it was a lot of people there. I'll just say that at all three, and I mean, it was a huge turnout. I think it was a good turnout, but it was just total BS, and it was just really annoying seeing the way that the representatives who were making the vote acted, sitting there like this, texting back and forth, trying to hide behind a computer, texting back and forth to each other, making like laughing, whispering in each other's ear, playing a damn video game. That was the worst one. You see this chubby guy just leaning back with his phone on his stomach playing a video game while he's sitting there listening to the hearing, or not even listening to the hearing, but playing a video game on his phone. To me, that is just, I don't even want to say unprofessional. Unprofessional, it takes it to a whole nother level of unprofessional. It just pissed me off. And I talked to Sean and James after I got off work, and they were saying, well, hey, go ahead.
I'll be right back.
No, you're fine. But I talked to Sean Typhon and Frame Janklin after I got off work, and I kind of let it rip on how I felt about all of it. And they were saying, yeah, it's exactly. Where's Jay? I'm right here, man. The domino effect, rest in peace to my facial hair. But I mean, it was just sad seeing. It was sad seeing that these people represent us. These not the vape industry, but as citizens of that state, they represent those people. These are the people who we look up to make the right choices. These are the people that we know are gonna have the end say in all this. And it was just sad seeing them not give a shit and just honestly, like I said, not giving a shit and just looking around, talking, whispering to each other, gossiping, texting back and forth, playing video games. It was angering me. It made me really angry. I just wanted to leave work. My stomach has been in knots the whole day ever since then. And I mean, I haven't wanted to eat or anything. It just pissed me off pretty much. I mean, it was terrible to see that these are the people who we're supposed to say, okay, yes, they represent us. And honestly, they work for us. And the way that they held themselves in that meeting, I don't think that they represent us. They're supposed to represent us. They're supposed to work for us. They work for the people, for the citizens of that state. And it was total BS what they did. And it was just terrible, pissed me off. It was probably one of the worst things I've seen. Probably the most childish. There we go. Childish is the word I was looking for. It was one of the most childish things I've ever seen. Those people sitting there on their phones playing video games. Now, people from the vape industry recording it, I'm perfectly fine with, because you're just trying to record it, let everyone know what the update is and everything. But whenever you're sitting there playing on your phone, total childish, total BS, especially when you're supposed to be representing the people and you're supposed to be working for the people. If you can't even take the time to listen to the hearing, don't even fucking come. That's all I got to say on that part. But I mean, it was bad. And there was a couple people who did say that they oppose it, that were actually voting for it. So, I mean, it was kind of good seeing that. And there was a couple people saying that they don't see the state of emergency that they're claiming. So they didn't say yes to the ban and everything. But I mean, it was just crazy. And it was really annoying watching. But like I said, it was in 3 different areas. So they had like a video chat going on to where they could vote from each area and communicate with each area like that. But I mean, the way they held themselves was just childish and the worst form of unprofessional you could think of. I mean, it looked like it was their first day on the job and they pulled some 9th graders from the high school to come do it for them. Mm-hmm. It was terrible. It really disheartening seeing that they just sitting there laughing, making jokes and all that stuff. I understand if you're sitting there saying, okay, yeah, we already know what our ruling is, just sit the hell down and listen.
Yeah.
Don't play on your phones. Don't text back and forth. Don't gossip, whisper, play video games. Don't do any of that shit. That was just so annoying. And honestly, I hope something does happen, but I highly doubt it because, we're representatives of the state. I don't give a shit. I think something should happen to them. That was totally unprofessional and totally childish, especially when people are recording you doing it and people can see you do it. Makes it even that much worse.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If you already make up your mind about what judgment or what choice you're going to make, what's the purpose in having all these people? Number one, most of those people that came to that meeting today had to take off work to do it. They had to drive, so they had to leave their home or leave their area to come to where the meeting was. So they had to spend money to get there. They had to lose money if they had to take off work and they didn't have vacation time. You know, if you already have your mind made up, say, hey, this is what we're going to do. And everybody probably already knows this, but a lot of this was they look at executive orders or executive actions. And I'll go ahead and tell you, when somebody says we're going to do an executive order or an executive action for this, it is mainly because they know if it goes to the House and the Senate, it's going to get rejected. They want to fast track it and use a public health risk or something along those lines to back their executive order, because then it will have all the traction it needs to automatically go through. Uh, so just kind of keep that in your back pocket whenever you hear about executive orders and executive actions and things like that, because I fully don't believe in them. I think emergency orders are a little different. I think those should always be in place, to where, yes, you still have to have the Speaker of the House and the Leader of the Senate kind of come together and make that decision. But an emergency action is a little bit different. That's for safety mainly, uh, which they could probably use that if they wanted to. They'd find a loophole around how to word it where it would be safety affected. So,
Yep.
but I got to sit down tonight and go over all this. I've pulled it up on my phone and kind of read over it a little bit, but there's another article that you had brought up. I have that pulled up here.
The tobacco bonds,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, and
tobacco bonds may be dangerous to your state financial health.
yeah. What's funny is, let's see, copy.
You look at all the states who are doing the bans, and you look at how red they are and how high up they are in the
Yeah,
millions. There's one state, New York, is almost at a billion. They're over three-quarters of a million.
yeah.
The next highest state I see is
California.
Illinois,
Oh,
California. Oh yeah, California. Yeah, I forgot about that one. But Ohio. So I wouldn't doubt it if Ohio's next.
yeah. But what's crazy is they were talking about Connecticut going to do it when Connecticut is pretty much paid off. They're not getting any more money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the weird part.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
the whole thing was just crazy, and it's annoying seeing that the reasons why. I mean, if the reasons why for something better, whatever. But whenever you want to sit there and you want to call something an epidemic and you want to say all this and that, when there's been no one who has died from vaping
yep.
because of a liquid or anything like that, or because of a flavor or anything like that, and all these stupid kids, I saw myself there, all these stupid kids who want to come out and say, "Oh, vaping caused this for me, vaping caused that for me." You would just tell the damn truth.
Yeah.
I mean, no kids watch any of these shows. I know that, but if they would just tell the damn truth, that's the only thing I would love to hear from them, is just tell the damn truth. Like the adult in Texas, I know THC is a black market in Texas. I bought a THC from a drug dealer in Texas. But yeah,
People just need to come out and be open about what they did. And I know when a lot of us are older. I'm in my 40s, and I know when I was in my teens, I might have fibbed a little and said, I was here when I wasn't, when I was somewhere else, and something like that. But when it comes down to I'm going to affect millions of other people, namely the 480,000 people that are going to die in the U.S. next year from smoking related illnesses, I think I can tell the truth. I think it would be very easy to tell the truth at that point, simply because of how many other lives I'm going to affect, and that's what these people need to know. The people, and I understand, there's people that have passed away. There's people that have gotten really really sick from this black market THC, and they have to understand that that's not nicotine vaping's fault. That is black market THC. There is a total different world of that than regular nicotine vaping. And, we talked about before that vaping needs to be separated from tobacco. Of course, that backfired in Michigan. Uh, I hate to see that and hear that. Uh, but nicotine vaping and THC, I guess it's got to be vaping. Uh, those definitely have to be separated. I don't know how you would do it because 90% of your time, 90% of the time, you're only going to have black market THC products in a state where it's not legal.
Yeah.
So we go back to how to fix that. We take Sean Typhon's explanation of just make it legal. That will eliminate your black market unless it's underage people. Sorry, there's a shadow on me. It's probably this. I keep seeing a shadow. That's better. Uh, but the black market is what's causing all this. And you're never going to get rid of a black market. It's always going to be there. It's just how much access they need or they get. Uh, it's hard to say how much growth they will have, or how much growth they really need to stay around. Uh, but I say if you eliminate over half, I don't think the black market could survive when it comes down to THC and vaping products. Uh,
Yeah.
their prices would have to go up so far to make up for the loss, that their prices would be too far out of range for people to comprehend, even to buy. I could go to the store and spend, you know, most of the time when you go into a shop, these are about, I'd say 25. Well, when the black market guys get to 20, the smart people will go to the shop and spend 25.
Hmm.
You know, now there's still going to be stupid people that say, "Oh, I get it for $5 cheaper. Let's buy it." And
Yeah.
there's no way around stupid people. I hate to tell you, there's nothing else you can do for stupid people.
Yeah. And Matt Elliott brought up a good point whenever he was actually getting interviewed by the news, and all the media around them and everything. He actually brought up the point of, think about it this way. If we have a black market, someone has a pet in their house, their pet has dandruff, and somehow it's on their hand or on their table or whatever, because it's going to go to a black market. It falls into someone's liquid. Say if it's a cat, we'll just say a cat, because my fiance is allergic to cats. Say if it's a cat, and I buy something for her from the black market because I can't find it anywhere else, and it goes to a black market. Say that guy has dandruff on his hands, he didn't wash his hands from the cat, or say a piece of hair falls in there and he somehow gets it out. She vapes on that. What's going to happen to her? If she's allergic enough to it, it can kill her. And that's something that he brought up that was a really good point of how dangerous the black market is. Now, I'm not saying vaping is on a black market. Vaping is not on a black market yet. The fight's not over, and we don't need to go to a black market. But this is something we need to defend so it doesn't go to a black market. So that way you know where your liquids are getting made. Every liquid I have in front of me got made in the lab.
Mm-hmm.
The liquids I buy from my local shop that they make right there, I watch them. He washes his hands. He washes his hands, puts on gloves. After he takes off the gloves, he washes his hands again.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes and he touches the keyboard to type up the thing. He puts Germex on, or he washes his hands once again. But that's just and you can sit there and watch him do it. And this is the thing that we don't need vaping to go to a black market. Yes, it probably will. We understand that. Everyone keeps saying it's going to get way worse before it gets better. We understand that. But it just sucks because we're not going to know where this stuff is coming from. Yes, there's trusted people that I know, Shane knows from the Discord. We know liquid manufacturers, liquid makers, coil
Mm-hmm.
make. Oops, sorry. coil makers and everything like that, we know where we're getting our stuff from.
Right.
But the people who don't, and they still want to keep trying to vape and they don't know where to get it from, they're going to be the ones who are going to struggle. They're going to be the ones who get a potential lung disease because the government pushed us into a black market.
Yeah.
If we don't get pushed into a black market, believe me, vaping won't be a black market. It won't be. But if they push us into one, yes, it will. And like how you were saying how vaping and THC need to be separated. Vaping needs to be separated from everything. If they're using a delivery system, when I'm saying a delivery system, I'm saying a mod and a cardo, and they fill it up with whatever liquid they are. That does not need to be vaping. They're using a vape box or whatever you want to call it, a mod, but they are not using a vape topper. That is the atomizer they're using is for THC, so that should be in the THC part. And then they want to start, and we've said this before, but they want to start doing this shit again. Or no, we actually didn't even say this. We said, oh, it's going to come to this eventually. They're going to start grouping it with opioids.
Yeah.
And then you have this idiot guy come out with a study who, if anyone watched the Grim Green one on vaping liquids with opioids in Utah, if you haven't watched it, go watch it because it is really good. And he talks about a lot of the facts because he does his studies. And one of the studies he did, or one of the things he actually was looking up, was they didn't even use the right testing things. They used the testing things that you would use to test something on the side of a road whenever a cop pulls someone over. And no, they did not contain PCP, opioids, or anything like that because they were actually liquid manufacturers like Twisted E-Liquid and a whole bunch of other ones like that are big reputable names. And he said, oh yeah, 86%, I think he said 2 out of the 12 failed, which would be like 86 or 84%, failed the test and had opioids or other kind of other kind of drugs in it, like PCP and all these other things in it, which was complete BS because they're just trying to make fake news to get vaping out of the way because we are fucking with their money. Shane, you don't care about us up here.
No, I don't care.
They are fucking with our money, or we are messing with their money. Like I tweeted today, we're screwing up their plan. This was not planned. They were planning to keep selling tobacco, and that's why they took out those bonds, and that's why they owe so much money because they can't pay it back because we screwed up their plan. If we would have been by ourselves and kept it a black market, they wouldn't have given a shit about it. But since we're messing with their plan and we're screwing with their money and they can't get their MSA money and they can't afford their stuff and the states can't afford it, they are getting pissy with us and they're going to start banning stuff because they're not going to be able to make the money to be able to do it. So one thing I'm seeing is, well, actually, it's kind of not really the way I'm seeing it. Michigan should have done a 30-day one because maybe in 30 days they could have got enough people to go back to smoking. And they could have, or not 30 days, 90 days like New York did, because then maybe they could have got enough people to go back to smoking to be able to make their damn money for their MSA and be able to start receiving that again. Yeah. And New York should have done the 180. I'm not saying I want them to, but if you look at the statistics and all the money that they owe and everything, I think that's what they should have done. They should have switched it around and it would have made way more sense. But when you owe $828,000, $828,000, that's almost $1 million. Like, it's like, what? You owe that much money, and then you only want to do a 90-day ban? I mean, I'm not for the ban at all, but these guys are complete idiots. I mean, if you watched his statement yesterday, you would have realized that I called him Captain and every other word, yeah, he terrible speaker, terrible representative, terrible governor. I'm pretty sure he won't come back into office, but this right here is stealing the deal, and this is just total BS. Any educated American, I'm not even saying like you have to be like college degree, because I finished high school, I did 1 year of college. I finished 1 year of college. I haven't gone back. I'm not the most educated American, but any educated American can tell that this guy is a freaking idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just sitting there spitting off stupid stuff that he's getting fed. If he knew what he was talking about, he wouldn't have stuttered so damn much. Same thing with Gretchen Whitmer. Same thing with all these other idiots that are coming out with stuff. Same thing as Trump. Whenever you watch any of Trump's speeches, what does he do? He's involved with the crowd. He's involved with the camera. If there's no crowd, he's right there in the camera. Oh yeah, this, that, this, moving his hands around, talking. Oh yeah, blah blah blah. No, what do you do the whole time? Yeah, oh yeah. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's BS. This is all BS. This is all them just trying to take down the vape industry, and it's annoying. It's like Vape for Life Jen said, it's unfortunate to be true. It is.
Yeah.
It's almost to the point to where, like, when you're a parent, you're not angry, you're disappointed because you have so much anger inside of you and you have so much sadness inside of you for something like this. It's disappointing. I'm disappointed in my country. I'm disappointed in it, and I'm not gonna sit there and say I hate my country. I want to move away. Believe me, I love being a free American. I love being able to have the choices that we have, but right now it does not feel like we have those choices. The freedom of speech, the freedom of whatever, all these freedoms we have, all the amendments we have, the constitutional amendments, all of these, it feels like we don't have them. It feels like whenever we say, they're not going to listen. They're just going to sit there and they're just going to, whatever, goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay, next, like they were saying today, if anyone watches Turk Tuesday, he was talking about it. He was saying what hashtags to use. He was saying, all these influencers, they need to start doing advocacy, mix it in. If you're going to sit there and say, it hurts your numbers, well, then screw you pretty much. And I love M Turk for that. I've always loved M Turk for that. Always down for advocacy.
They're gonna have no numbers.
Go.
You know, I mean, you have to look at that. These influencers that don't want to do advocacy, what are they going to have now? Nothing. They're going to have nothing out there because everything's going to be banned. And you know, you were talking about the ban earlier. You know, they're taking it away. They're going to influence a black market. The people that I'm concerned about are, you know, of course, the smoker that is considering changing over. You know, I mean, it takes a while to actually make that commitment. Okay, I'm going to spend this money. I'm going to get this, and this. And I'm going to quit smoking by using this alternative. You know, I've done my research. You know, maybe, you know, you have some people that do that. I'm one of those people. You know, I look into it before I make a commitment to anything. But those people are the people that are going to miss out on the enjoyment that we have now of living a healthier life, using a 95% healthier or safer alternative. And then you think about the other side, the 6 month or less people. You know, they started vaping less than 6 months ago. You know, they may still be on a pod system. You know, they may have upgraded to a little AIO like the Frenzy, or you know, they could be getting into mods. And this is not a sub-ohm tank, but you understand what I'm saying. They could be getting into a sub-ohm tank with a regular mod, or they, you know, within 6 months of me vaping, I was into RTAs. So you know, you have to think about those kind of people. You know, they don't know what we know, but they're getting there. Well, at that point, then they have nothing else to move forward to. They can get an RDA, and they can get an RTA, but they're not going to have anything to vape in it unless it's tobacco or no flavor.
Yeah.
So, and why would they even move forward if that's all they have?
Yeah, if you have the same shitty flavor you're going to be tasting, that you've been tasting for some people 25 years, 30 years, or like me, I only smoked for 1 year. If you're going to have that same shitty flavor, what's the point in switching? Oh, it's healthier for me. Most people don't switch because it's healthier until later on they start realizing that. Most people switch because it's like, I'm tired of stinking and I'm tired of tasting the same nasty ass flavor. They want all these good looking flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And like someone tweeted today, what's his name? Azar or something like that. The guy who made the stupid comments, or one, I don't know, there's too many of them make stupid comments. But one of them did, and he said, oh, well, adults don't like flavors. These are marketing to kids. And Black Cat White Face said, adults' lives matter, flavors matter. I switched on root beer. I tweeted at him, I sure hope, or I said, do kids like pink lemonade and what was the other ones? Peanut butter cookie and strawberry sour candy. I was like, I hope not, because that's what I vape, and that's what helped me switch. And honestly, I just made an order for half of those liquids I just said
Yeah.
just yesterday, and it sucks that people aren't going to have those options no more because like I said before, I even asked my local vapor shop, my local vape shop. They said when they first opened, it was 60 to 70% tobacco flavors because no one knew what they wanted to try because they thought it was weird. They thought that'd be weird. But
Mm-hmm.
once they started experimenting in it, he said now they've been open for I don't know 5 6 years, something like that. He said that they don't they maybe use 5% tobacco, and half the time those tobacco ones are not straight tobacco.
Yeah,
He
they're
said they
mixed.
are always mixed with something,
Yeah.
and he said that there's maybe 5%. They use 5% tobacco flavors, if that, anywhere in the shop, and they even have Vape Tasia Royalty Number Two. That one is a tobacco-y custard with hazelnut or something like that, and he said they don't really even sell that, and that's a pretty decent tobacco flavor that
Yeah.
I actually somewhat like, except for the last lot I got. The last one I got was kind of gross, but I remember whenever it was good and I loved it, and it was really good. But I mean, it's not something I'm gonna sit there and buy constantly. But switching to tobacco flavors or no flavor, if we're vapors now and we can't get anything in the black market or anything like that, I'm pretty sure we'll hold off and we'll use our stockpile that we have,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll use those. We'll sometimes somehow some way make a tobacco flavor work, and we'll also make the no flavor work because honestly, I would rather take that than anything than the
Yep.
tobacco flavors. I would take the no flavor,
Yep. I
but
would
it just
rather have
sucks that we're
nothing.
gonna have to. Yeah, and it just sucks that we're gonna even have to think about that because if you get PGVG nicotine, if no one's tried it, go to your local shop if they make it in house and just ask them for a small bottle and try it. It's not that great. It's got a little bit of sweetness, but it's not that great. So I'm not promoting that we should do that, but it's just something that's really annoying that we're gonna have to do just because these guys can't look at the facts and they just have to be idiots about it. If they were just if they would educate themselves on actual studies that are done, even if they only want to do U.S. studies, there's perfectly good U.S. studies out there,
Mm-hmm.
like the one in Harvard, the Clean Air Act, and there's a whole bunch of other ones, like the one that the New York Times did, and or actually the New York Times published it, but someone else did it. That one was over how vaping is a 2 times more effective alternative, but then you have the governor of New York sitting there saying that if vaping is the only thing you've tried, then you are stupid. You should try everything else besides vaping. And then now you have people hearing that whenever there's an actual study that came out that's saying vaping is a 2 times more effective alternative than any of the other ones. So why even try those? Why waste your money on something that you don't even know that will work?
And
Especially whenever there's studies that show it doesn't work.
that's the thing. If people are actually doing the research, and I think they are now, people are actually going out there and looking how effective is Chantix, how effective is patches, gum, lozenges, all this other stuff. How, what is the most effective way to help me get away from this? And if they find that, they see that research of this is 2 times more effective, this is 95% safer, this is 95% healthier. Why would they even go to something else? All you have to do is read the side effects of Chantix and you will choose vaping. I don't know why you wouldn't. That's the part I don't. This is the part I thoroughly do not understand. If you go read the side effects of Chantix and you choose something over vaping, then you don't make any sense to me whatsoever. And I honestly, I've tried
All right.
Chantix. I didn't. Oh no, you're fine. I mean, hell, I had to
I
get
got
up
a
and
midget
leave.
running around the room every now and
Yeah,
then.
I mean, I had to get up and leave and go get mine in line, so I understand. Uh, I just had a head pop in the door and said, "I need your assistance." So, but if the people are actually doing their research, and I think a lot of people out there are, and they are taking the time to say, "Okay, here's this, here's that," and I think I'm going to go this direction. A lot of people,
Mhm.
my age and, my age to Jay's age are those kind of people. Now, You know, I say the people, late teens, early 20s, it's a completely different world. And I'm sorry to those people, but I work with a few of those people, anywhere from 19 to 30. And a lot of those, I still call them kids, but, prime example is I text Jay today because I had to go down on the floor and I'm down here in receiving working circles around these guys and they don't know what in the hell's going on. Those are the kind of people that I'm talking about. They're letting the old man that sits in the office most of the time come down here and outwork you. And, those are the kind of people that I worry about because they're going to believe what they see. And, one other thing I wanted to talk about was, you mentioned all the, hold on, I got antivirus popping up. I'll close it. There we go. It's telling me I have a scheduled scan. Well, I know because I schedule it 2 o'clock in the morning, so that way I'm not sitting in here doing anything. You mentioned, the people yay and nay. One thing is a lot of those people are afraid to go against what their superior says because number one, they're afraid they're going to lose their job or get demoted or have some sort of action against them. Or number two, they're a yes man. Everything that person says they agree with no matter what. Or number three, they're a butt kisser. They think if I do exactly what he or she wants, all the time, then I'm going to further my career and I'm going to make it up to here and things like that. And it doesn't work that way. Not to me. It may work that way for some people, but those are the kind of people that do not need to be in a position of power. They don't need to be there at all. We need independent thinkers that are there that can take both sides of an argument, research it, and understand it by the end of it. That thing today, I guarantee you, there was no research done. They took the facts that were given to them and just ran with it. Hey, here's our facts. Where'd you get these facts? Well, we got them from Uncle Donnie down there at the back at the garage. After he got done mixing up his THC, he gave us these facts. I mean, we didn't buy it out of the trunk. We just got these out of the front seat. So, people have to take responsibility, especially if you're a legislator, if you are in any position of power. You have a responsibility to your constituents to do the research, understand it before you make a decision about
Yeah. And that's the one thing I hate, honestly, is that you can tell. And I mean, if anyone watches any of their speeches on it, I mean, if they did the research and they're still unsure about it, then whatever. It's fine. You did your research. You did what we asked. But whenever you're not doing your research and you're just having someone else do it for you, like to me, I understand. What was it called? Dishing out jobs to certain people to help you out with your job.
Yeah.
Delegating jobs. But I don't know if it's just the way I was raised or whatever. My mom, I think that's what separates me from people that are my age. Is my mom is 55, something like that. So she's quite a bit older, and she raised me by herself. So I was raised the way she was raised.
Old school.
You work. Yeah. And it was pretty much, hey, you're going to school, and if you find a job during the summer or during school, good. And I did. And I was shoveling horse poop. And I was making pretty good. I was making $10 an hour doing that in my senior year. So, I mean, that was pretty decent money for a senior. And then whenever I got out of high school, she said, okay, you're going to college. I said, okay, well, what if I don't want you? She said, well, you have to try it for at least a year. If you like it, then you can stay. If you don't, oh, well. But she made me work while I was doing that to pay for my own stuff, pay for my gas, pay if I want to take someone on a date or anything like that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think that's what separates me from those people because I hate hearing – I'm not talking about what you're saying, but like even at my work, they're saying, "Oh, the millennials, the people of y'all's age, they always want praise. If they don't get praise, they think that they didn't do right, and they get all pissed off, and
Yeah.
they get mad, and then they start doing bad."
They get butt hurt.
I'm not like that. Yeah, pretty much. I'm not like that. I have a good buddy at my work who's the exact same way. I know exactly how his dad raised him.
Mm-hmm.
We're the exact same way. And I mean, it just, you are right on that though. How I think that they will go off of whatever they hear on the news or whatever they hear online. Mm-hmm. I have a buddy who always asks me about it. He actually used to vape. I don't know, maybe for fun. I don't know, whatever, just for a little nicotine buzz or whatever. But he used to vape. He used to smoke cigarettes. I told him, "Why are you doing that?" "Oh, I just like the buzz." Like, dude, just if you're gonna do that, just vape. Just vape for the buzz instead of smoke for the buzz. That way, you're not killing yourself. But yeah, I mean, it was every time something happens on the news, he's like, "Hey, well, did you hear about those things killing people?" I'm like, "What things? Like vaping things?" I'm like, no. And then this is one thing he always backs up on. "Well, how do you know that?" And I'm glad he asked that. I'm glad he's not just taking my word for
exactly.
it. He says, "Well, can you send me the thing?" And he's younger than me, but he always asks me, "Well, how do you know that?" Okay, well, did you get that off the internet? Because that's where I'm finding my research from, or that's where I'm hearing this from. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, you're going to hear bad and good on the internet, but whenever you go to actual reputable sites that have reputable studies done, then yeah, you can sit there and you can say, yes, I support these. But then whenever it's like stuff like just BS coming out on the news and they put it on the internet,
mm-hmm.
I don't trust it.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't trust the news really at all, because in Texas, they're going to say it's going to rain, and it might rain 3 months from now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, somebody comes out and says vaping's killing people, I would want to see the evidence instead of, mm-hmm. oh, it's killing people, well, let's get rid of it. You know?
I mean, like even the opioid stuff.
Yeah.
Like the opioid things, how, like, have you seen the SpongeBob picture where it's Squidward laying down?
Yeah.
And it shows like how many people are dying from tobacco, how many people are dying from opioids. His eyes are closed, and then it says how many people are dying from the THC cartridges. And his eyes are still closed. And it says how many people have died from vaping? 0, and his eyes are bloodshot and open.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just a whole bunch of fake news that it's sad that we're having to fight our own government because they're believing fake news.
Right.
Just from news reporters, and they can actually look at scientists. Yeah, they can't even look at scientists. Yeah. They can't even look at the scientists, the actual reputable doctors, the physicians, the schools that are actually doing these studies. That sometimes they're actually funding they're actually funding those schools to do studies, and they're mm-hmm. using that money to do studies like this. They can't even look at that own research. That's where I think it's BS. You're paying for the damn studies, paying for them to do studies, and you're not even looking where your money went. Like, you don't even care. Oh yeah, whatever, I gave them that money. But if it's somewhere where your money went and it had a bad study or a study that showed bad stuff, oh, of course they're all over that. Like shit on or flies on shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just annoying.
And here's the thing. I know you said, talking about people doing the research, and even if they don't understand it. Well, here's the thing. If you don't understand it, you don't need to be speaking about it. You can say that, hey, I've done some research on the left and I've done some research on the right, and I'm not fully comprehending everything, so I need to do more. I need to do more before I can make an opinion for my constituents, before I can use my voice as a legislator for my constituents. I need to know and understand exactly what's happening. That's the way it should be. But these people have little birds in their ears, and they have little deliveries going to their pockets from these lobbyists, and that's just how it is. There is so many loopholes in our government where these lobbyists can come in or influence. Let's just call them influencers, because that's really what they are. They go in and they influence the legislator to vote their way. Or they go in and say, hey, you've been here, you're on your second term, well, this legislator that's on his 14th term would like you to co-sign this bill with him. you know, and this could take you to, 8 or 10 terms, you know, and that's how they get a lot of these people together. Is you have one big wig that wants to make all the decisions, and he goes to all the little people, and he tries to get them under his wing. I mean, it's a comedy movie, but there is a lot of truth to what's the name of it? Uh, where Steve Carell was turning into Moses, or was it? Uh,
Damn.
Somebody in the
The one
chat.
where he makes the boat and
Yeah,
everything.
the one where he makes the ark. What was the name of that movie? Uh, Not Bruce Almighty.
Something.
Evan
Uh,
Almighty. Evan
Evan
Almighty.
Almighty. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, just take the parts of that movie where John Goodman is trying to influence him to go in with him. He's got, I've been here so long and this can help you and I need you to help me and all this stuff. That I believe that really goes on. I know that was a movie, but I believe that has a lot of truth to it. And if any legislator that's out there wants to come on or talk to me or email me and tell me how untrue that is, please feel free to do so. If anybody sees this,
Oh,
I don't care who you are. You could be, John Doe, that's a legislator in the, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area, mayoral, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Any legislator, I would love to hear you present evidence that that's not how this works. But another example is, I talked about yes men, ass kissers, uh, those kind of people. Those kind of people need to go away. And there's another side to this where it's offensive, but it's not offensive to me because it should have an age limit. I hate to say that, but there's times where where you were in your prime as a legislator. Once you get beyond that, you don't really understand everything else that's going on because it's kind of beyond what you understand how things work. You know, you look at a lot of these people that have been doing legislation. They've been legislators and elected officials for a really long time, and they just kind of vote at whatever they think is right, and whatever they think's right. It's not the kind of correct way I wanted to word that, but they're looking at it from a point of view from 25 years ago. They're not current on how things have changed and how much things are different than when they were in their prime. And a prime example of that was where I live. Up until I think 2013, this whole county that I live in was still a dry county. You had to leave this county to go buy you something to drink and then bring it back. And ended up, they tried to vote the county wet, and legislation stopped it. There was actually people that sued, so the legislation would have to be pulled from the ballot. That was in, I think, 2012 or 2010, somewhere around in there. But then 2012 it came back on the ballot, but this time they found a loophole where if a city had over 1,000 people, then they could vote just in that city. So they weren't able to stop the legislation at that time. So the city where I live is wet, but the county where I live is still dry, and it makes no sense. But that's an example to me of the people that have been in these elected officials and legislative positions for far too long. They are out of
Yeah.
touch with what is current and how things are working currently. And I think we need to take a long, hard look at our legislators as a whole. Not saying they can't do the job, but they also need to be able to be current in, I guess, current events and how things are interpreted these days rather than 25, 30 years ago. You know, 30 years ago, you couldn't say shit on TV or ass, on broadcast television. It was, oh my God, take it off the air. They said ass. And, now that's on every channel. Do I agree with it? No, not really, because I don't really want my youngest one, put through that. He's going to hear it on TV and then he's going to think it's okay to say. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's something that we need to look at as constituents is, hey, my parents, my grandparents used to vote for this guy. Why is he still in here? And what has he done to make changes to help us move towards the future rather than hold us in a position that was 25 years ago? And that's something that we as just normal people, this has nothing to do with vaping. And I'm sorry to go off on this long tangent that's way over here, but it's something that was on my mind that I think could make an impact on our future, not just as vapors, but as humans, as human beings, as normal people. We have to have the right people in office to push our area, our country, our state, city, state, municipality, country, whatever you want to say, to push us in a forward direction that will bring more understanding to us as a whole. And I don't think we have the people in place to do that at this time.
No.
I,
Actually, to speak on a liquor thing, just a funny quick story. There was a town down the road from where I work, and it's actually a decent sized town, but they asked them, hey, well, we're going to build a liquor store. Is that okay if we build it in your town? They said no. So these people went to the next town over and built it right on the line in between them and said, hey, pretty much screw you. But I actually have a question for you, Shane. How do you feel about like Kumo or Kuno, whatever his name is, like how all these people when they're doing their speeches on the actual vape ban, how do you feel about them bringing the state police chief or whatever on? To me, I mean, to me, I think it looks dumb when they're like, oh, I got the guy for the health, I got the guy for this, and I got my police chief right here, the state police chief, head of all state everything, all police. To me, I think it makes them look even stupider. It's like, yeah, let's just bring the guy on who obviously can't enforce it, so now we have to make another law to go against it. Or even when they say, okay, well, we're going to 21, we're bringing him on with us, he's going to talk about, oh, how we're going to enforce this. Couldn't enforce at the age of 18. What makes you think you can do it at 21?
exactly.
These people at the store over here don't really give a shit. And then now they're going to do it on live, or I don't even know if it's on live TV, but whenever they're on TV or on the internet talking about it, and then he's like, oh yeah, we're going to bring them on and we're going to let him speak on it. You couldn't enforce it at 18. You couldn't enforce it at 21, or some states are not even trying 21. They're just trying 18, and then if it doesn't work, they're going to do a flavor ban like New York. But I mean, it's just like, or no, they haven't even done the 21 yet. It goes into effect November 4th or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like they haven't even gave that an opportunity yet, and then now they're gonna go and they're gonna just ban flavors, and then they're gonna say, okay, then we'll do 21. They're doing everything ass backwards. But then, to me, I mean, I want to know what you feel like on it. To me, it makes him look like an idiot, because it's like, hey, we're gonna have the guy who can't enforce it, we're going to have him on here with us so that way he can talk about how he's going to try to enforce it.
Well, here's the thing. If they want to bring this guy on just to, I guess, as a show of force to the vape shop owners, I understand it. But here's the way it's going to project to a lot of the smaller town areas. Oh, we don't have to worry about that. The state will handle it. Well, in these little podunk towns, I say podunk towns, they may be 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 people, but they may have a small vape shop. So if they just have one vape shop, they bring the state, state police chief or whatever on, and they're hearing all this, they may think, oh, the state's going to handle that. We don't have to do anything with it. And that vape shop could run 6, 8 months before the state police even show up over there. I don't, I don't agree with it because it's more of a show of force. But then again, he could have them there to come in with, if they came in with a plan of, hey, here's what's going on, we understand, and here's how we want to contribute to not really enforcing it, but saying here's the plan of how everything's going to work from our end if we do have to step in to enforce it. I understand that. I forgot I was going to say something else. But I was going to tell you the liquor store here is the exact same way because the county right next to us is wet. So you had to drive, it was 11.1 miles one way. So you would drive 11 miles, and I'm talking about the county lines right here. We'll say the county lines right here, and the store's right here. I mean, literally right on the other side.
Yeah, like whenever you go over the overpass by it, like the sign is literally like it might be touching the store.
Yeah.
Like that's how close. Like if you line it up, it's damn near like probably maybe 5 feet if that.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's that far off the line, but they did it as a big old FU to them.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I just want to bring it back up because honestly, I mean, this is just really disheartening, and I'm everything I have goes out to the people out there who own shops, who did this for the right reasons. I mean, they might have said, hey, I want to do this to help people out, it helped me, and I can make a quick buck off it.
Yeah.
Fine, whatever. You whenever you're running a shop, you're not looking at it as only, okay, well, yeah, I'm helping people out. You're looking at it as, hey, I'm making money too because it is your livelihood. This is the way you're paying for all your bills and everything. Right. So I understand that. And I'm not going to sit there and cut someone out for that.
Here's the other thing. If you are a smart shop owner, you've got 6 months in reserve to pay your bills.
Mm-hmm.
If possible. Most of the shop owners, this goes for any, just hit my mic, any business. If I could talk without my hands, I would never hit my mic, but I can't do it. Any business owner, you should have at least 6 months of bills set up and ready in your savings. If you're unable to do that, I understand 3 months, will be fine. But you should at least have 3 to 6 months set aside. So, on a 90-day ban, you could just say, hey, I'm taking 3 months off if you have 6 months in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd still have 3 months left. I wouldn't recommend it. I would run until they shut me down. That's just me.
And that's one thing that they were saying, too, is that there's a bunch of people who own shops who are willing to go out of their shop in handcuffs because they believe in this product. And I don't know if I would believe in handcuffs, but I would damn sure be running my shop if they came in and say, hey, you got to shut this down. And then I might test the waters after that, but you never know. I mean, it's just a bunch of BS. Like I would maybe sell flavor shots. I mean, I know that's not what we want this industry to go to. We don't want to go to flavor shots and mix shots or anything like that. We don't even want to go to where people are handling the liquid there. But that might be something that, I mean, hell, even buying it from Liquid Barn or wherever people get the flavor shots. You're fine. But, I mean, even stocking up on stuff like that for right now. I mean, if they come in and say, hey, well, what are you selling? Well, I'm selling PG, VG, and nicotine, but I'm giving away this. I mean, they're banning the sales of flavors. They're not banning you giving it away. And it's not a nicotine product because it contains no nicotine. All it contains is flavoring. So, I mean, maybe that's something that shops should look at because I think that would honestly help out. That would be able to be something that could be done. Maybe you just slide it under the table. I don't know. But, I mean, maybe that's something that all shops need to look at is stuff like that because I don't want to see this industry go anywhere. I know Shane doesn't. I know anyone in the chat, anyone watching the replay doesn't want this industry to go anywhere. But we just got to keep fighting. Honestly, that's the real truth. Is we just got to keep fighting. But I mean, hell, if there's a loophole, try to use the loophole. If they come back and say that loophole didn't work, try again with something else. Shane, I was talking about maybe if a whole bunch of people stocked up on liquids from like the liquid barn and they sold the PG, VG, and nicotine by itself and then gave away the flavor. Because technically, if they're banning the sales of flavored e-liquids, that is not a sale because you are giving it away.
Right. Just mark up the PG, VG, and nicotine to take up the cost of the flavor.
And honestly, I mean, I think that's something that we could do, and that's something that my local vape shop was actually talking about. Maybe that's something that they're going to look into doing. Maybe carrying some liquid barn stuff and carrying their own stuff where they already have it pre-bottled. So I asked them, I said, hey, well, if you didn't do if you had your flavorings here and you did your flavorings here, would y'all be able to afford PG, VG, and nicotine from another place like a lab? They said we probably could. So maybe that might be an option for y'all later on down the road. Because I mean, I'm not against it. I still vape their stuff. I still vape people's stuff where they make it at their house. I mean, if I know them and I can rely on them.
Right.
But I always want to try to help out my local shop in my local area the best I can. And I mean, if that helps them out to where they're like, yeah, that actually might work. We could maybe afford that, and we could just do the flavoring here. I think that's something that'd be really cool. Or even like what the vape shop that vaporized in Theodore, Alabama, what they do is they get all their flavoring and their PG and VG in one bottle, and then they add the nicotine at the shop. And I think that's something that's really cool that they do because, I mean, that could help out a lot with other things too. But I mean, yeah, they're still opening it. Maybe if the flavoring thing would be a little bit better because then they could just add it at their house or whatever, and you're not messing with it. You're the ones messing with it. But I mean, I think
the other thing
is another topic, but I think. Go ahead.
Oh, if you go to on nicotineriver.com or .org, I can't remember which one it is. They actually sell the 60 ml bottle of 3 milligram nicotine already pre-mixed with VG and PG. So you could actually just get the whole thing all there together and then mix your flavor and put your flavor in.
Yeah. Shit. I was paying attention too hard and I forgot.
Sorry.
It's fine. It was a question about something with the vape shops, I think. I don't know. It'll come back to me.
Yeah.
I was trying to get your opinion on something. I can't even think of it no more. I don't know.
Well, see,
it's been a hectic. Oh, actually, it was on the nicotine cap. What do you think about a nicotine cap? And I mean, I'm pretty sure you would agree on. I don't know if I agree on pod systems. I agree that closed pod system should be out of the market. I think it should be to where you can only add your own liquids to it. And I think that there should be a nicotine cap. I know they were talking about that on the Ohmies yesterday. I think there should be a nicotine cap. Logan was talking about today. He did a live on Twitter. I think there should be a nicotine cap. I don't think salt nicks need to be around.
No.
I know salt nicks have helped so many people get off of smoking cigarettes. I don't think salt nicks should be around.
Well,
one, they're too high in their use.
Well, here's the thing. Salt nick was not created for high nick use. It was created simply for a smoother hit, because they have 3, 6, and 9 in Nick salt. You know, it was made just to where it wasn't as harsh, and then people took it and said, well, if it's not as harsh, we can boost up the nicotine level and sell it as a high nicotine. I'm fine with salt nick staying around, but I would say 15 to 20 milligrams would be the highest it needs to go.
Yeah, and I would say that's the same thing for freebase. I mean, if salt nicks stay around, I think there does need to be a nicotine cap on everything across the board. I think we should go back to regular. I mean, hell, even going back to the regular 24 traditional freebase, whatever you want to call it, nicotine.
That's
I didn't start off on 24. I started off on Yeah, but I think it should be. I mean, hell, like my local vape shop, they'll do anything from 0 to 24, any number in between. But I mean, I
Yeah,
think even just 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and then have a 24.
yeah,
I think that right there solves a lot of things. And
yeah,
I mean, not every shop has to carry every nicotine level and every manufacturer has to. I just think that there should be nicotine caps because this is where everything's coming from. The teens are wanting the buzz. I guarantee you, the salt nicotine is a little bit smoother, but you give them some 24 milligram,
yeah,
50/50, or even some 18, 15, gotta knock them on their ass, and they're not gonna want that. It's gonna make them not feel good. I used to vape a 12 out of a little ego pen and out of a little VB Nova tanks.
yeah,
Wasn't that great, but hell, it got me off of what I was doing.
yeah,
I dropped it down to a 3 once I got into sub ohm stuff, and I've been at a 3 for I don't know how long. I've even dabbled into going from, or actually I went to a 6 and then I went to a 3. But I even actually dropped mine down to like a 1.5 at one point
yeah.
whenever I was buying for my local shop.
Yeah, I was
Do that on
considering
some
doing
places,
that.
but
I was
yeah, but
considering
it's
buying a
too
3 and
hard.
a 0 and then mixing them
Yeah,
and using
yeah.
it as a 1.5 because the
Mm-hmm.
3, I started at 6 on sub-ohm, back in 2018, and that was almost too harsh. And so I dropped to 3 and then got into fruit. And then fruit is
Some of those
more,
get too harsh.
some of those just in a 3, they have a hellacious throat hit. So I was like, okay, well, I'll
Mm-hmm.
drop, I'll just get a 0 and mix this together and do a 1.5. And, I actually did that on a couple of bottles. And what I noticed was at that 1.5, I was vaping a lot. And so I was like, well, let me take a week or
Yeah.
two to get used to the 3. And I mean, it's the same thing with this culotta. The first time I hit that nasty juice with that culotta in it, I coughed and coughed just because it was, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it hits you like a truck. It's so cold. Uh, but a couple of days, I got to the point where I could take a nice rip off of it and it wasn't as bad. Occasionally I'll still cough just because if I go from, say I go from Shamrock Cookie over to the Slow Blow, it's a totally different world hitting your mouth. Uh, but one thing I thought about and I'd forgotten until just now, you mentioned T21,
Mm-hmm.
and they asked this on the Omies the other night, or actually last night, if if we thought T21 was a good idea, and I said no. T21 is useless.
Yeah.
They can't enforce
It,
T18. Uh, the only way it would work if it was T25 or T30. If you took that
yeah.
age to 25 or 30, there's not too many 25-year-olds that are going to buy something for a 16 to 18-year-old.
Yeah.
21, you probably have a friend that's a little bit older, or you have an older brother that has a friend. Say you're 15, your brother's 18. More than likely, he knows somebody that's 21. At that point,
Yeah.
so it's kind of those 6 degrees of separation. But if you're 15, 16 years old, you're not going to really know anybody that's 25 that can buy you something along the lines of alcohol, cigarettes, vaping devices, e-liquid, anything like that. That's the only way it would work, in my opinion, is if you took it to 25. Now, do I want that to happen? No, because I think at 18 years old, if you are eligible to go fight and die for your country, you should be able to drink, smoke, vape, whatever you choose to do. You should have that right if you're willing to give your life to protect me.
Yep.
That's
I think
that's
that too.
yeah, that's just my opinion. Because everyone now that enters any of the four, five, six, whatever military things that are out there. I know the big four, and then you have the Coast Guard, and there's a couple of other ones. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you're willing to go do that, because you're not made to, you have to register for the Selective Service when you're 18. But if you're willing to sign your name on that line to say, I'm going to commit to my country for the next 4 years, and anything that goes on, I'm going to defend my country, you should be able to decide
Yeah.
whatever you want to do. Now, can I say that drinking and smoking and all that's necessarily good for you at that point in time when you're 18? No, I don't think it is. Uh, but it should be your right to choose if you're going to give your life for this country. You're going to give your life to protect everybody here, but you can't drink. And now with T21 coming down, you can't smoke or vape. So,
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
with you on that one. I don't like you said. If I mean, if they want to do T21 and they want to say, hey, you can't smoke or drink until you're 21, I think they need to raise the age of voting because they're saying teens are too stupid to not know that well nicotine is addictive and all this other stuff. Then I think that they're too stupid to vote. Then they're too stupid to make the decision to go off and fight in the war.
yeah,
I'm not saying they are, but if that's what they're saying, then that's what should be done. And then also how they keep one of the things that. So I agree with you on that one. The next topic, or the little topic I want to bring up, is all these legislators and all these governors saying, "Well, yeah, most of the teens didn't even know that it had nicotine in it. They were just sitting there saying they didn't even know it had nicotine. They just wanted it because of the flavor." That's
yeah.
total BS.
Oh, I know.
It has a nicotine warning on it, which has to be 30% of the box or the bottle or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Plus it has the milligrams of nicotine on
Yeah, it's
it. It's
all
BS.
listed.
Even this one right here, this one's a zero. Look at
Yeah,
that, 0 milligrams of nicotine.
it
Has a
still
nicotine
has a
warning.
warning.
Has a nicotine warning. And then on the back it says 0 milligram nicotine, 0.0%. And then it says that it may contain nicotine. Or it says this product contains, it says it contains it and not for sale to minors. I mean, hell, I added nicotine to this one though, so it's not 0 milligram, but it's just stupid. How are they gonna sit there and say that whenever there's warnings on there that y'all made us do? Y'all made us put big warnings on there. Y'all are the ones who said, oh, it has to be 30% of the bottle, and everything that I have has it on there.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's just dumb that they want to sit there and say that they're trying to defend their point whenever they don't have a valid point. And I mean, we can all agree we all like flavors. But back to the T21, yes, I do disagree with it. Like I said, if they want to move tobacco to 21, they're saying that kids don't know what they're doing whenever they're at that age. Fine, move. You can't register for the war. You can't register for the military and
yep,
the branches like that, and you can't vote.
yep.
And then hell, maybe move up the age for drinking. If they're gonna move the age for smoking, I'm not telling them to move up the age for drinking, but maybe even move the age for drinking to 23, whatever they want to. I mean,
Yeah,
make it where it's reasonable, to where it's not like, okay, hey, well, all this stuff right here, you can just do it once you're this age.
right.
I mean, I like the 18 and 21, or 18 and then 21 for drinking, and 18 for tobacco and all the other uses, because then it's kind of not like you're just destroying your whole life in one day.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of us, we drank before 21, we smoked before 18. I mean, hell, I think the first cigarette I had, my buddy used to steal packs from his grandpa, and I might have been like seventh, eighth, or it might have been like eighth grade. So what, like 13, 14 years old? I wasn't a continuous smoker. I didn't smoke every day. I didn't smoke
yeah,
every week, every month. But hell, every now and then you steal one. I'm a stupid kid. I'm rebellious. You get a buzz off it. Yeah, let me have one of those. But this fights the urge for me. I don't feel like I need to smoke. I don't feel like I need to dip. Even on my most stressful days,
hmm,
there's not. I've had very, very stressful days here lately. Very angering days. Very days where just stuff is not going right. The whole world is not going right.
hmm.
I've never looked back. I've never looked behind my shoulder saying, "Hey, you know what? Let me get a can of snuff, or let me
Yeah,
get a pack of cigarettes." I've never done that since I've found vaping, and that's where it's just annoying that they can't see that this alternative is so much better. But so what?
yeah. Well, we went to a company lunch today, and the only guy left in our office that smokes. After he ordered his food, he went out and smoked, and then he came back in and sat down. And I'm talking about everyone at that table was like, "Dude, you stink so bad. And he
Mm-hmm.
was he was sitting across from me, and he was farthest away from me, and I could even smell it. And I'm like, golly. And I'm thinking, did I stink like that before? Because there's been many times back when I smoked that I would order my food and then go smoke simply because I had time. And I thought, did I sentence everyone around me to that, all the time back whenever I was a
Yeah.
smoker? And it makes you think, God, how much did people not like me coming around because of how bad I stunk? And
Yeah. And
it's
believe
something.
me, my boss is the same way. Every 30 minutes he's got to go outside. And I've been working on a project with him, so I sit in there, I keep working on it, and then he comes back into my office, and I'm just like, oh my god,
Yeah,
they're actually upping our rate we have to pay every year if you vape or smoke. Every year it's getting upped until I think 2 years from now or 3 years from now, then it's going to be at the max, which is going to be probably I think $150 per paycheck
wow.
just to vape or smoke. So what he's doing is because at the beginning of next year, we're a smoke-free, vape-free campus, and you can't leave the campus unless you're clocked out. And if you walk out to the road, you can get terminated because you're not on the actual grounds of our area when you're on the clock.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is he started smoking menthol cigarettes so that way he could quit. He said, "That's what I'm doing to quit. I'm quitting cold turkey, so I'm trying to smoke menthols because I hate menthols." I said, "That's the stupidest damn." I was like, "Dude, I'll give you a vape kit, vape for 3 months, lower your nicotine level down each time, and
Yep.
be done with it. Go down to zero, and then okay, hey, I don't like, I'm done. I don't need it no more.
Yeah.
Like, just do like a 3 month thing. You're at the end of the year. Oh no, I don't want to try that shit. I've already tried it before. I'm like, yeah, you tried it with a little ego pen 2 years ago when we had better things around.
Yeah.
I was like, we didn't have the best things, we had better. I'm like, dude, I got a starter kit at home sitting there waiting to give to someone that I've never opened. Do you want it? He said, nope, I don't want it. I'm gonna smoke menthols, and then once I'm done with the menthols, I'll be done for good. I'm like,
Yeah.
or you're just
Okay.
gonna get addicted to menthols, which are
Yeah.
killers for you.
Yeah. Make your lungs bleed. So we're at
Mm-hmm.
9:30. I think sorry, we
Yep.
tend to ramble and we tend to get off on our own subjects, but I hope that we have given you a little bit of knowledge, given you a little bit of wisdom to take with you and to help you on your advocacy journey. Thank you to everybody that's here in the chat. Thank you to Jay for coming on with me. Uh, we will see you Saturday on Weekend Wisdom. I don't know if we have any guests coming or not. Hopefully we will, but if we don't, you'll get to see these two lovely gentlemen that are on here right now. So make sure give
If,
Heavy a
if,
little.
if we do have one though, if we do have one, it will be someone that was at the flavor ban
Yes.
hearing today.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to get a couple people. If I can get one of them or two of them or all of them, I don't care. I'm trying to get someone from there so that way they can speak on what happened there firsthand.
Yes. So make sure give Heavy a little promo. He's be on tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Never heard of them. Make sure to tune in for that. I'm sure they'll be talking about pretty much the same things we talked about. They may have more updates. So make sure you guys stay informed. And I know most of you do. You keep up with what's going on. And I've noticed that Jay Hayes has been doing a lot of lives during the day and kind of going over what's happening day to day, which is great. That gives people some info. Excuse me, in the middle of the day, where things that happen, that morning can be shared. We're only on twice a week, so there's only so much we can do. We could go live every day, but we have families and things like that, and other things we have to take care of. So, uh, of course, we'll be watching, we'll be updating, we'll be on Twitter and all those other things. Any questions, comments, anything, please be free. Pete, excuse me, please feel free to email me down in the uh, description, the crotch box. Everybody points this way. It's in the crotch box. So, my email's down there. Like I said, questions, comments, anything, please feel free to send me an email. We love each and every one of you. Thank you all for being here. And I hope you all have a great night. And everybody just keep your nose to the grindstone. One thing I want to say before we leave is thank you to each and every one of you out there that are burning up these phone lines and keeping this. We keep making more and more of a dent in this wall. And eventually we will break through the wall. We're not there yet. So don't stop just because you think that we are making headway. Because we're making headway, that means we need to keep going harder and faster than we did the day before. So, everybody out there, thank you. Thank you very much for being activist, for taking your advocacy journey to the next step. You are making a difference, and you will be the cause of everything stopping and everything being going back to normal. So,
Yep.
take a point for yourself and say thank you, and
Keep
make
your heads up.
yes, you know, there it's slow going. It will be, and that's one thing that no one can change. But we all need to understand that it's going to be a very long fight. We said it before. It's 12 rounds. We're probably in round 3 still. We got 7 more round or 7, 8, 9 more rounds to go before we can get to the end of this. So keep your head up, keep doing what you're doing. We love you guys. Thank you all for being here, and hope y'all have a good night. See y'all Saturday.
Mm.